We are very happy to have Ricardo with us. He's here for 2 weeks doing an artistic residency for Madeat.eu European project. For Madeat.eu European project, we made an open call, and we were looking for people that are working with different kind of technologies that we are also have as a research agenda in IAAC and Fablo Barcelona. So we received 100 applications, and we chose 4 artists that would work with us, and they would develop their proposal. So we are working currently on a new wearable garment. But Ricardo has a very great work, and he has done a lot of collaborations with fashion designers. Of course, he will tell all in his lecture, but I would like to welcome him here, and I hope that you will enjoy the lecture.
Thank you. Thank you, Anastasia, for the introduction. I will sit down because I have to pass the slides, like go forward. So thank you everybody for coming here tonight. My name is Ricardo O'Nascimento, and I'm very happy to be here in Barcelona those weeks, developing a new piece that hopefully will be working in next week. And they invite me to give this talk, and I would like to present some of my works here, and also the work that I do at my studio called POPKALAB. So, so let's just start. There's this phrase: technology should be invisible, functional, and beautiful. This is a sort of a motto for my work. I really believe on that, especially if we talk about wearable technology or fashionable technology. It is very important to me that all the technology is hidden, invisible, that there's a function, and when I say function here, it goes not only in a function in a way that will make you perform something more efficiently, but could be a function that just gives you joy, for instance, that just make you happy. This is also a function to me. And beautiful, because, you know, beauty. Who doesn't like beauty, right? So the first project that I would like to introduce you is the first wearable piece that I ever did in my life. It's this one here. It's called Tycoon Hat. I did in collaboration with Ebru Kurbak, which is a Turkish artist. We were at the same school by that time. I was doing my master in interface culture in Linz, Austria. So I did this piece, and the idea is to materialize the invisible. So we made this hat, and it reacts according to cell phone frequencies. There's a small video here. So when you are wearing this hat, as soon as the hat detects that there is some cell phone activity around you, the feathers will go up as a form of visualization that we have these waves, these electromagnetic waves around us, but we cannot see, but they are there. So we created this piece. With this piece, we got invited by La Galleri in Paris for a short residence as well, more or less in the same model that I'm doing here, to develop this project a bit further. So we did what we called feather tails. So we had the same idea, to work with feathers and make them detect cell phone frequencies. So, and we called feather tails because, yeah, there's this joke with fairy tales and feathers because it's made of feather. And when the feather moves, we know that there's some communication going on, but we don't know the content of this communication. We just know that the waves are there, the signal is there. And so it's a sort of a tail that you don't know the content, but it's there. So feather tails. So we went from the hat to an object. It's like a frame or an object to put on the table. And with the same concept, we try to migrate to space. So we got a commission from LABoral in Gijón, here in Spain, to develop this project a little bit further. And then we create the feather tails number 2. The Feather Tails 2 is it works in the same principle of the previous pieces. So it detects cell phone activity. I mean, not only cell phone, but also walk talk, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and make the feathers to move. And this time we covered columns. I think it was 8 columns at the museum. So we wanted to make the room reactive. So the room would react to. Here you have like a bigger picture. These are ostrich feathers. I like to show these 3 pieces because it was really a case in my work where we migrate from the body to the space, like literally, and this is something that I really enjoy to explore. Another work. This was in 2010. I work a lot with wearable tech, and I work a lot with performance. My approach within wearable tech is it's less towards gadgets and more towards performances, more art pieces instead of products. Let's put it in this way. And this one, Yansan, it's a dress I made in 2010 that also deals with this idea of materialize the invisible. It's inspired by a goddess from Candomblé, which is a Brazilian belief, called Yansan, and she is the goddess of the wind and the thunderstorms, and I was thinking that maybe she also could be the goddess of telecommunications and like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. So I was trying to get this like religious background and try to transpose it to the now, to our time. And so I created this dress where the skirt, there are lots of fans on the bottom part, as you can see here in the movie. And when it detects cell phone activity, the fans will turn on and transform the cell phone activity into wind that you can see through the ribbons. During the performance, the performer go around the room giving a card with a phone number, and in this card is written "Call me" and a number. This is to stimulate people to use their cell phone so they can see the dress to react. And I also use these ribbons, which is very common if you go to Brazil, especially to Bahia. You have this ribbon that you make 3 knots, 3 wishes, and get it tied on the wrist. So this is I like to mixture traditional techniques, traditional craft, and traditional stories, theories, and and mix them with technology. This is something that I really enjoy, and also to give this craft look to the pieces, because even though I use lots of microcontrollers, sensors, and things that refers to the future, I like to dress then with this traditional low-tech appearance. I find this combination very interesting. So this was Yansan, 2010. Did this in 2010 in Brazil. Also in this idea of performance, I create this one called S Bojagi when I was in Bucheon, which is a city nearby Seoul in Korea. It's a small city, like the Great Seoul. And I was working together with a theater company called Noto Theater Company, and we worked together in this piece. And the idea is to use bojagi, which is piece of fabric that in Korea it's commonly used to wrap presents. So you wrap presents in fabric instead of like paper, and give to people. So it's very sustainable. So you can reuse a lot. So what I did, I created this piece, which is just a sheet, and then I put sensors on it. And during the performance, the performer wrap things with it. And each time you wrap it, you trigger different sounds, because you make like different contacts, there are different combinations. So I was spending some time like in the city doing some field recording. So I record like sound of cities, I record, I don't know, metro, people talking, whatever I found interesting. And as I don't speak Korean, for me, I created those sounds more based on how it sounds. I mean, I didn't know the meaning at all. But it was interesting because it was my experience there anyway. And then you see here the performing, like manipulating and exploring the soundscape of the city through the fabric, as if the fabric was impregnated by the sound of the city. And she's an actress that I found. By that time, even though I did lots of performances, I was never brave enough to perform myself. So I was always behind, like directing, and not really, it's changing slowly. I mean, slowly I'm getting more brave and try to perform myself. But also because I like as well to have this distance to evaluate how it is. Because if I'm performing myself, how would I know if it's any good? I don't know. Yeah, right. Should I perform in front of the mirror? I don't know. But anyways, this wasn't so. I had 1 month to. Oh, here she wrote herself in this piece. And technology-wise, it's very simple. It's just like make contacts at some points, and there's also one accelerometer in there, and that connects to a computer, and all the magic it runs into a computer. XB, Max MSP in the computer, and the controller there. So. Now you got it, right? I will go to the next one. So this is another experiment that I did with Thiago Martins and Andrea Zingerle. It's a game, also related to music, also related to wearables. I will play the video. I think it's explained better.
Soul
pay attention to this damage report. So it's called Headbang Hero. It's a sort of a parrot of the Guitar Hero. You know the controller, Guitar Hero? Yeah. And so we did this, and actually it has a funny story. It started like a sort of a joke, and then we made this wig with one accelerometer here on the wig. So with this piece of electronics, we could measure the angle of your head. And so we could, and if you compare with the beat of the song, we can tell if you are headbanging on the beat, like really right on the beat. And we can also detect different kinds of headbangs. You can make like the simple headbang, or can make the helicopter. So there are like different styles that you can detect from this thing. It's a wearable, of course. It's a wig, right? You wear wigs, and it's simple like that. If you do it on the beat, you get points. If you don't do on the beat, you lose points, and you have a ranking if you're good or not. But our point with this piece is that in video games, most of the time you play an avatar, you play like this virtual character that sometimes dies in it. You know, he dies in very cruel ways. You know, like have the hair chopped and you know, just die in horrible ways. But you yourself, you don't feel anything. So we wanted to create a game where you are rewarded by your effort, but you also feel the consequences of your effort on your body. And that's why by the end of the game, when you finish, you receive this damage report that shows like how was the amount of damage that you caused on your neck while you're doing this, performing this game. And it was very funny. We present that a lot in music festivals and also in the art festivals. But the first time we present was during the Ars Electronica festival, which is in a festival in Linz. It's a very important one. And then we got invited, and then we presented, and it was nice, people queuing to play. And then on the next day, we were informed that we should shut down the installation because lots of people from the museum, they played the day before, and everyone could not work the day after because they had like incredible pain in their necks. So they found it. Yeah, they said, oh, you can continue, but you have to make people sign that, you know, like that they are at their own risk. So it was very nice. Yeah, Headbang Hero. It was very nice. This is TK 730. So this other piece is a combination of a typewriter and a knitting machine. I did together with Meg Grant, Anna Hertenberger and Leonie Urf. We did as part of the summer sessions in V2 in Rotterdam. And what it does, it converts text to textile. Well, you can read, right? Then we develop all these, you know, like mechanic things. What I find interesting in this piece, because as you can see, text and textile, they have the same root, right? Like, I mean, if you get the word text and textile. And if you have a piece of knitted fabric and you start to unravel it, you will see that the thread goes like this, no? Which is exactly the movement of our eyes when we read a text. When you're reading a book, no? You like raster the lines, no? Of the letters. And the same thing happens with knitting machines. So we wanted to make this connection very visible, to have a typewriter that at the end gives you a knitted piece instead of piece of paper. And it was very challenging, especially because of the whole mechanics involved. For those who knows the knitting machine, you know that can be very complex and tricky to work with. And it works more or less, I have to say. I mean, it needs human assistance. The biggest problem that we had in this piece is to find the correct tension for the yarn. And the way we found the correct tensions is that some of us like just holding it, and then we can adjust with our hands. But yes, TK 730. It's in a box in my living room right now. So shoes. This is a project that I did also with Thiago Martins. We studied together, and yeah, we get along very well. Thiago, he's a dear friend of mine, and an amazing developer. So we happened to collaborate a lot. So we did this one in 2010. It was, for me at least, the time that Twitter was like starting to get popular. When I was discovering this media, Twitter, and one of the big critiques that I was reading about it is that people are just tweeting like personal things that no one really cares, you know, like just tweet their daily lives, what they are doing, what they are eating, and so I was in Athens actually with Thiago. We were talking, and then we started saying, well, what would be the ultimate stupid thing to tweet about it? And we're like, well, everything. So every step you take, you tweet. And so we try to take this very literally. And so you would tweet every single step of your life. And it's funny because every time we turn on the servers, we lost several followers because your feed gets just invaded with tap, tap, tap and dots, as if it was a sort of a virus or a Morse code. Some people saw it as a poetry. And some people saw, I mean, it was referred in some articles as that could yeah, sort of a guerrilla marketing. You could, like generate content by just walking, because ultimately, I mean, we put tap and dot, but you can, you can make your steps say anything you want. So that was our Rambler. This was in 2010, so we didn't have. We did this in a Nokia phone. It was a long time ago. We didn't have like these amazing smartphones. Nowadays it sounds very, very trivial, no? To do like this, no? Pressure sensor connected to your phone. But back there it was a bit tricky. So that was the Rambler, and also the name Rambler, for those who know, like means when you're rambling around, is like, like for example, when you have a topic to talk and you don't go straight to the point, you just like walk around. So we are rambling around the topic. So that was the name. And what happened? What happens that we had this shoe, and then this shoe was published in a book from Sabine Seymour. She's a writer that writes about fashionable technology, and she has 2 books that were published, which are sort of a compilation of projects and trends in this area. And we were there, and then we received an invitation from opening ceremony to work with them in a special project for the New York Fashion Week. They were about to release these shoes, these sneakers that you see on the picture, from Adidas. So it was a collaboration between them and Adidas, and they wanted us to create something similar of Rambler for them, for these new shoes. And then we create Jump, this other concept. So it was the same thing, shoes connected to social media, but this time it will also connect it to the phone, which by that time was a Motorola. Like these marketing people, right? They always try to. So it was a new phone released. So the app was running on that new phone. So lots of companies involved here. Adidas, opening ceremony, Motorola. So we did these shoes. And what happened is that when you're walking around, and then when you jump one time, you post on Facebook where you are, and a picture from Google Maps of the place that you are. So you have a post like this, in this case. And then if you jump 2 times, you do this, and you also post on Twitter. And if you jump 3 times, you do all of this, plus you drop a pin in a Google Maps. So you can have like a map and drop pins on the places that you like the most, and then it's saved, and then you can see afterwards your virtual path. That actually was a real path in the computer. So it was a prototype. We did this. We presented during the Fashion Week, and it was nice. I decided to show this after Rambler because it was an example of how things went for at least for my work. Something that started as a student project, and then suddenly got into another level because someone saw it, and then we got this invitation from opening ceremony, and to make this piece. So talking more about collaborations with brands, which is more like my studio work. We have a kind of, for now, long relationship with Blass. Blass is a fashion brand based in Berlin and in Paris. They make like amazing pieces. I'm a big fan. And I was very happy when I was invited to work together with them for an exhibition at MAC Museum in Vienna. This exhibition was curated by Sabine Seymour, again. And she paired us. So she introduced us, me and Blas, and we did 3 pieces. This is one of them. It's called Recording Shoes. So you can see here in the heel of the shoe there are lots of little dots. So inside the shoe you have this piece of electronics. So you have again a pressure sensor, and you have a battery, you have a speaker, you have a microphone, and you have a little board. And what this board does, this board detects when you start walking and records whatever sound it is. Normally it's like tuck, 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 the sound of your steps. And as soon as you stop walking, the shoe plays back the sound. So it gives a sort of a feeling of misplacing, you know? Like when you stop walking, it's when you start listening the sound of your walk. It gives a bit of like a sound confusion for the wearer. So we did this piece, exploring sound and shoe. Another project that I did within the framework of POPKALAB, I worked with Leandro Cano. We did this show for the Fashion Week in Madrid. Yeah. So you know that Samsung Ego, they have this prize for fashion designers that works with innovation, and Leandro was selected to participate in this. So he had this idea of having this collection with these outfits, and all of them have little movements with wind and motor as well. So we created these outfits. In this one, for instance, you have like feathers inside the coat, and then when she is stopped, you can see here a little bit on the side, and when she turns in the back, you have like these feathers flowing around. So we work together in this collection, also, with this topic of feather movements and. Leandro Cano is a young designer from Madrid. I don't know if you know him. He's Spanish. He's doing really good. Well, I move on, okay? All of these videos, they are on my website. You can check it later if you want. POPKALAB.com. This is pretty, huh? With this cape with the feather. But I tell you that it was very difficult to make this movement, because the aerodynamics inside the cape was so, because the wind, it creates a sort of a path inside the coat, and if the feathers are not really in this path, it doesn't go anywhere. So it was very difficult to find a way to have the effect the way we want. Well, let's go to the end. This is the last one. Here's a detail, yeah. So no, like little effects, very small effects, not something very theatrical, and we didn't want to use like lights or anything. We just wanted to use like little movements created by wind. Okay, ciao. This is another project Also with Blast. It's from that same exhibition on the MAC in Vienna. It's called Melodized Pillow Hammock.
Und Ricardo ist vom POPKALAB und war zuständig für die technische Umsetzung. POPKALAB und René. René, are you here? René? This is René right there.
So what happened here? Blast had designed this amazing hammock composed by several pillows that you can move them, like slide them, and you can open these threads and jump inside. So they had this pillow. And then we thought, well, let's turn this pillow into a music instrument. So what we did is that inside each cushion, we put a module of a sensor. So in this module, we have a pressure sensor, and we have one accelerometer as well. So we had these two sensors. And with these sensors, we can detect where the people is seated. We can detect the weight of the person. If we have one person, two persons, or three persons, we can detect how they swing, the speed that they swing. We can detect several things. So the idea, it was, like this, transform the hammock into a music instrument. After this one, we made a second version, which is more melodic. So the thing is that once you create the piece, which is basically a controller, you can put any content you want. You could, for instance, make the hammock control lights or control something else, as you wish. I would just put a bit further because I explain the using. So here you see this part here is the sort of round, and here you have the on off. So you charge it, and it's wireless. And this network of sensors send the information to the computer, and in the computer there's a software that process all this data and creates the music. So that was the melodized pillow hammock. This is one of my last projects I did when just before coming here. I was doing a residence at Sliperiet in Umeå in North Sweden. They have the open call right now if you're interested. I did this cat cushion. So I got this. Actually, first I found this amazing fabric that it looks very kitsch with all these little kittens in there. It's so bad that it's good, like when there's this thing. And then I found this amazing, and then I decided to make this pillow. And then I create a matrix of pressure sensors on it, using conductive thread and foam. So there are 11 different sounds, and depending on where you press, you listen a different cat. So the cat can meow, or they can purr, make this purr, the purr sound. And it's funny because I also put two really big speakers inside. So when you hear the cat purring, I don't know if you say that. When you hear the cat, the cushion also vibrates. Yeah, it's really interesting. And afterwards, I even found that some researchers saying that vibration of the cats, they are actually good for healing, like bones and muscle pain. They're good for some kind of diseases. I didn't go very deep into this research, but I found just interesting because you can can heal with sound, just with like a vibrations. And this could be, I mean, one potential use of discussion, besides of, like make people laugh, could be, for instance, for rehabilitation, or, like to help people make movements with their hands, I don't know, after a stroke or an accident. I'm being dramatic now, but could have like a use, a function beyond the pure, like joke behind it. And as you can see in my work, I take humor very serious. I mean, like fun, it's a very serious topic to me, and I try to incorporate this in all the pieces that I do, all my own pieces, and also the collaborations through my studio. You have to tell me how much time do we have, someone? Oh yeah, when you're bored, you just say. This is the Tropical Disturbance remix. Is this tonic? It has 4 buttons, and each button is connected to a track of this song. So the idea here is that depending on the way that you wear this, you remix the song. So you could, like wear in different ways and like walk around. This one is connected to your phone, so the sound comes from the phone. That's why he was like on the phone at the beginning of the video. Yeah, here we go. So the idea is that like to create like wearable controllers for performances, and yeah, I started very low profile, just four buttons, so you could remix it. Tropical Disturbance. From the same. Yeah, another performance, this one in collaboration with Idia. So here I like a lot to use organic materials and explore the combination of organic materials with technology. And here we decide to use hair and make these outfits using hair. So we create these masks, and we have here, as you can see, there are some braids, right? And on the beginning of the braid, you see there's a magnet. Yeah, so then when we connect it, so we start hearing the sound of breathing. And more you connect, it's more. Actually, this is it's about love. This piece. Because each braid has a different length. So when you connect all, and then you have, like you're going apart, so you have this tension, and when you go apart, the sound starts to be more nervous, because you want to be close to the person you love, and you have all these tensions about like find the right distance, like compromise, and sometimes you go closer, sometimes the other person go closer, sometimes just stand. Like now. So you have here, like the connections. And during the performance, we basically explore this the braids, the hair, the interaction. And when we get apart, like there's this tension that will. So, and then you go away, it's gone. the sound's gone, and then during the performance, and then we start again. So like it's really like in a relationship when you're trying to find a compromise to be together with someone, but sometimes you also want to go somewhere else, if you know what I mean. Beloved, Ilha do Castelo. It's a great artist. And talking about hair is it's a material that I use a lot in my work. Not a lot, but I find interesting. This is Antangomi. I did in collaboration with Django, which is a fashion designer from Amsterdam. So in this piece, we are trying to give some animal characteristics to the dress. So as you can see, the dress, it moves. So it's called Antangomi because it moves when it detects that someone grabbed the brush. As if the dress got happy. Someone will pet me, someone will brush me, so I'm happy. Like a little puppy. So in the installation we had like this dress there and this and the brush, and people got the brush, grabbed the brush, and made a dress happy. Antangomi. And this was real hair as well. This was for an exhibition called Anouk will kill me. What's the name of her exhibition? Technosensual. It was a big exhibition, I think in 2012 in Vienna, curated by Anouk Wieprecht. And I made this piece for this exhibition. Antangomi. This is another collaboration now with Nada. Nada is a fashion designer from Rotterdam. So here we had this, she was making this collection, and then she made like this bomber jacket. And what we did, we designed these translucent spikes, put light on it, react to sound. That's it. Light spike. Nada, and her name is Nada, it's funny. That's her real name. Okay, this is now that it's starting going into light. This is a piece of mine. I decided to show the making of, as you can see in this video. So I put these are 800 LEDs embroidered by hand. See, there was a mistake here. There's one line that's not working very well. And then afterward, you see the effect is yeah. Oh, sorry. With this other, you see? This is the effect you get when the light is diffused through the material. So this was when I was building the wearable facade. Now, this is the wearable facade. This project is about intersection between fashion, architecture, and identity. It works like this. I have this garment with me, with a camera on the back, and the camera takes pictures of the place where I am. And the computer, there's an algorithm that analyzes these pictures and creates these patterns that are displayed here in the garment and also on the facade behind.
it looks in the image for certain shapes like triangles, squares, circles, and color, of course. And based on those, it generates the pattern that you see.
We are performing this in European cities, and we realized they are kind of gray and not so colorful. So we would like to go to, for example, Curaçao or a Caribbean place to get like vivid colors and to see what this would influence in the garden. I tried to pitch a trip, but it didn't work. No, they sent me to Germany instead. I was like, I don't know. So yeah, so this project, it's inspired by this theory about the layers. You know that we have our clothes as a second layer, and then you have like the architecture as a third layer, and you have the ecosystem as the next layer, and then finally you have identity as the final layer. So I was trying to make a piece that interconnected those layers. And so that's why you have this, my idea, have this garment that try to grab patterns from cities, from neighborhoods, like what is the main color, what are the main shapes, what is neighborhood, what's the color of this neighborhood, and translate this into a pattern that is displayed in the garment itself, and also in a building, in a media facade. I didn't have the chance to use a media facade for this, so till now I just project with a projector like here. But the idea is to have the same thing that is happening on the clothes happening also on the building as well, like connecting these two things. I think I will show the. I want to finish with one of my last projects, which is the Sound Steps. I made a very fancy movie, and with people from local Androids, they are really great to make movies. And but you know what? The sound of the movie, as you know, it's a documentation, so it's post-produced. So it's not the real thing, but I have the real thing with me. So I think instead of showing the video, I will show you the shoe itself. Let me just connect it. So I will ask you to be very quiet because the sound is not so loud. And cross your fingers that this will work, because you know how it goes, right? Okay, so... yeah, can I use this? No, I can't, because the sound doesn't come from my phone. The sound comes from the shoe. So you have, this is just a remote control, yeah. So you have like this. Or you can sound like a step on a frog. Or you can sound like a horse. I call this sound steps. So the idea is to have this add-on, to have this accessory for your shoe where you just clip on your lace, and then you can change the way you sound, change the sound of your steps. So this is the first prototype. Ideally, on the other version, you could record any sound you want and upload to your shoes. Everything happens on the shoe. I'm just using the cell phone as a controller, OSC, direct to the shoe. Here inside there's a Raspberry Pi, so that's why it's a bit bulky. There's a Raspberry Pi here. Yeah, and but the coolest thing is not only the sound, but you can also make music with it. So let's see. sensors here that, that creates music. This project was made in collaboration. Again, collaboration, I think. This is not over. This was made in collaboration with a French startup called Phonotonic. They do sonification in objects. So they develop all the... Yeah, you have this, no? If no one claps, I can just move my move my shoes. So it was a collaboration between Phonotonic, POPKALAB, and Stéphane Gontard. Stéphane Gontard is a shoe manufacturer, but they didn't. These are Puma. They did another shoe that I didn't bring with me because I didn't know I had to speak. And we did this in the framework of the Worth project. Worth project is a project that fosters innovation in fashion from the European Union. So you can apply for this project, and if they like your idea, they give you money and mentoring to develop the product. So we did this first prototype. Now I am looking for investors to keep developing, make it a little bit smaller, a little bit louder, keeping developing this. And do you want to see the video? I will show it because...
No, I think you want to show the video. I think that we can interact with the people because I think they have many things to ask.
Yes. But let me show the video.
Okay.
It was so expensive, so I have to... like this, you would need like 3 or 4 at the same time. This is Rotterdam. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? It's the time to ask. We can also have some beers and talk informally. We can put some music and we can have go to the bar. Yeah. But if you have some questions, no? Anybody? Yeah. No. So okay, I have a question. So, what's next? Not that.
It's in that room.
Can you
explain?
A little bit.
Yeah?
A little bit.
I don't know how secretive it is. So the next piece, it's a piece, it's an interactive garment, which is also sound it reacts to sound, let's put it this way. So I am making this, it's a big garment, and I work also with movement. So there are gonna be sound, there are gonna be movement, and there are gonna be bioplastic.
And I guess that you have been like in, it's like amazing because you have been like in many places of the world, and you have the chance also like to be in different contexts and collaborate with different people, also like see how things work in different places. So how would you describe this residency that is happening these days for you? What did you learn something? Did you think that it's very different than other places?
Yeah. Well, for me, artist in residence was a way that I found to finance my pieces, because all of this that you saw, there are lots of technology involved, and this costs. I mean, sometimes it's not much, but if you count the time that you put on it, and it gets incredibly expensive. And through arts in residence, it's a way that I found to finance my piece, and at the same time travel, which is something good that I like it. And this fact about being in contact with other culture, other people, other mentality, and also other artists with their researches is very rich, because you end up being influenced by all of this, and this shows in your work afterwards. So yeah, I think it's I really enjoy arts in residences, and I strongly recommend, if you are, especially if you are graduating and you don't know what to do, you know, like just finish your studies, I strongly recommend just travel a little bit, do some arts in residence, see the world, get inspired. But unfortunately, it's not something that you can do very often, for obvious reasons, because you know you cannot survive on arts in residence. You can barely survive with art. That's the truth, unfortunately. At least for me. Don't know. Maybe there's some successful people here. No, but I like it very much. I think it's very important.
Hello. I'm sorry, I missed part of your lecture, but I very much enjoyed the other half. I was wondering, in the process of the development of your projects, do you, like for the shoes, for example, is it like, does the shoe manufacturer come and contact you and then you find the project out of that? Or do you ask yourselves questions about how maybe your feet can make people dance or something like that? So I was wondering, like, what are the questions and how this process functions usually?
For the shoes, it was I applied for a project, so it was a project that I had before. So I had this in the back of my mind, because if you see, I mean, the line of work that I do, I mean, this, it's kind of obvious, no? You would end up in something like that at some point, because it really merges the topics that I work with, no? Sound, body, wearables, music, and so I had this project in mind, and it was like, yeah, almost 2 years just waiting until some opportunity. When I say opportunity, I mean money to make it real. And then there was this open call, and then within the open call, the people from Worth Project, they helped me to find a shoe manufacturer, and they helped me also to, it was very interesting because I went to their factory and see how the shoes are actually done, what are the constraints of putting technology inside it, because it goes through several machines. You can just not put anywhere, because the machines, they grab the shoes and heat the shoes, so there are lots of details that only go into a shoe factory that you realize. So it was like this, but it was an idea that I had, and after I get the money, things went kind of smooth. That's the truth at the end, right? If you find money. yeah. But it's normal like this. It comes from a concept, yeah. Or sometimes from my studio, when there's a client, for example, Blast, they said, for example, that hammock. Oh, we have this hammock, and you know what we do. And then we together sit down, say, what if? It's all about what if. You know, like wonder. Well, what would be cool to have it? Yeah.
Music can go in the back.
Yeah, sure.
Where we have Moritz, so and we can chat.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.